All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very, very much so far for a great podcast. Everyone who is enjoying themselves, thank you. By the way, thank you to Canadian Doink, who just resubbed for 11 months and said congrats on the wedding. This segment of the show is going to be the trip itself. I'm going to tell you the ins and outs of what happened daily while Kat and I were in Connecticut. What did we do while we were there? How did the wedding go, etc. And you know, everything, okay? So let's talk. So really the trip started the night before. The trip started April 6th, my birthday. That was a week ago Saturday. I had finished my stream of Apex Legends with Brian and Kekin, which we had gotten 2 wins, which was freaking outstanding. Getting 2 wins in one session was pretty damned awesome. And a great way to end my my streaming session right before my birthday, right before this trip. So, that night, I did a lot of work. I had to pack a ton of shit. I had to make sure, checking the flight statuses and everything. Incidentally, it's a good thing I checked because one of our flights, the flight going there to Connecticut, had been changed from a smaller aircraft to a larger one on our flight. But because it had, our seating assignments had changed. And I had to change them so that we were sitting next to each other. If I hadn't, we might have gotten shuffled around and not been sitting next to each other on the flight, which would have sucked because this is a coast-to-coast flight, and this initial flight from Seattle to Connecticut, excuse me, it was actually to New York. We flew into New York, JFK Airport, which is in New York City. It was about 5.5-hour flight. Not be sitting next to each other would have really blew. Okay, so I ended up doing that, and just basically doing every little thing I needed to do. We checked last thing with Kat's friend. Kat's friend actually came over that day during my stream, and we gave her friend the keys to be able to come just check on the house and everything while we were gone. And it was a lot of work to do. There was a ton of shit to do. In addition to that, I had to be up very early that morning, the April 7th, Sunday, because our flight was at 11. So that means we had to be up way early to get ready to get a ride to the airport and check in, because in the United States, they require you to be at the airport 90 minutes prior to your flight. If you're not, that's it. You get bumped. You can't even get on the plane. You could show up an hour before. You're too late. You got to get another flight. Like, oh my God. Sucks. It happened to me once before. I was so pissed off. It cost me so much money to get home. So we had all that stuff to do. And it was a fun night that night because we were like, wow, this is literally the night before our trip. Although we were very apprehensive because we knew what I had raised during my marathons or whatever. And we knew it wasn't enough for the taxes. And we were like, this sucks. Like, this is a situation where we're going to try our absolute best to enjoy ourselves, but at the same time, we're afraid that in the back of our heads, we're just going to have taxes, and worried about what happens when we come back. Are we going to be told, you didn't pay your taxes, here's an exorbitant amount of money you now owe the government. So it kind of said, we're like, here's a real happy time, but at the same time, there could be, terrible thoughts in your head the whole time, and we didn't know what was going to happen. All right. So we woke up that Sunday morning, got ready, got dressed and everything, and finished up packing or whatever. And the thing is, this is a good thing. We only live 15 minutes away from the airport. 15 minutes away. And so we opted that we were just going to get a ride to the airport. We were going to drive and park there. For those who don't know, trying to park at an airport is very expensive. Even if you do like an outdoor lot parking, it could be anywhere like $20 to $50 a day, and we didn't have hundreds of dollars to blow on stupid outdoor parking. So we're just gonna get a ride to the airport. So we got a taxi cab to the airport. Now, to clarify, not only did my parents pay for this trip, they gave us money to pay for everything during the trip. And it was hilarious because when my mom gave me this money, she had wired this money to me the week before. She said, "This money is not for taxes. You don't put any of this money towards your taxes. This is your money for you to spend on everything during the trip and have a good time. And you better have a damn good time. And if I find out you spend any of this money I sent you for taxes, I'm going to come and beat your ass," basically, is what my mom told me. Okay? So I had some money to pay for taxi and to pay for food and stuff while I was there. So, got a taxi. I'm not even kidding. Taxi ride was probably 16 minutes. $30. Jesus Christ. $30 for a taxi ride to the airport. God damn. Fucking expensive shit. We could have taken like an Uber, but I was afraid if we did that they'd dick around or fuck up. Because, that's basically Ubers are not trained drivers. It's just a normal person. And being that this is a very important trip and we can't miss our flight, I paid for the taxi, okay? So we get to the airport, and I mean, there's no way around it. We had to check a bag. There was no way around it. You know, we have our wedding attire in this. So I had my backpack, which I take on all of my trips. It's over a decade old, this backpack. It's so good. I'm still intact. And for the few times that Kat actually was visiting me before she moved in with me, I gave her that backpack to take on trips, to bring her stuff with, which was awesome. So this backpack's been all over the place. Had my backpack, and in my backpack I had things like my laptop, some movies and stuff for us to watch, and a DVD player to hook up to the laptop so we could watch like movies and Blu-rays. You know, charging cords for our phones and stuff like that. And the very important essentials, like our wedding bands, were in there. Okay, so the things that, you know, our documentation to get the wedding license was in the backpack that I was taking with me. So God forbid they lose our luggage, at least the essentials to get married are in the backpack. If I have to get married in a fucking Mario t-shirt, I guess I will, as long as I have the things to do it, right? So, checked in for the flight, had to check the bag. $30, ladies and gentlemen, on domestic American flights, $30 to check any bag on a flight. It's not free anymore. $30 to check your bag. So we check our bag, and by the way, we're on Delta Airline. And one of the things that we did, we wanted internet on the flight, because we're like, we're not going to sit here for 5.5 hours doing nothing. So we looked into it, and for Delta, you can get internet on the flight, but you have to pay for it. They have free internet that's slow as dirt and doesn't really work very well, or you could pay for the high-speed internet, and then you could get it on the flight. So we went ahead of time the night before. This is one of the things we did Saturday night. We looked up on Delta flights, how do you get in-flight internet? $16 a person, okay? And there's a website you do it. I forgot the website already. I completely forgot it. It might be like Flyfi or something like that, .com. And you have to purchase it ahead of time. So I did. Some of the funds my mom gave me went towards it to get us internet for the flight. And I bought 2 passes and gave them my email address. All right, here's the email address to send the passes to or whatever for this in-flight internet. Great, sounds good, right? So it was like $32, I think, for both of us. We'll both have internet for the whole flight, 6+ hours. You know, it's worth it, so we're not bored. So we go through security. No issues in security. Everything's good. You know, go through security. Now they make everyone at the airport take off your shoes. You got to take your electronics out of your backpack, put that in a separate thing. Take your belt off. Got to put that on the flight. You're basically naked going through this fucking thing now. We get through it, no problems. So we go inside the terminal, and now we check the bag and everything. And now we have about an hour until they start boarding for our flight. And we're like, well, we're going to do this smart. We're going to eat before we get on the flight. Why? Because on flights now, they don't offer real meals anymore. They don't. Usually when you get on a flight now, they offer you like a snack box of like crackers or something, or cheese, or they'll offer you like a sandwich that's like way overpriced, like a $14, you know, sandwich that's something that, you know, you could have made at home. And it doesn't taste like anything. It's like flavorless. So we wanted to get food before we got on the flight. So that way, at least we knew we wouldn't be starving. The other thing was, we weren't touching down until, I think 9 p.m. Eastern time, because there's a big time zone difference. We live on the West Coast. Eastern time, which is Connecticut time, is 3 hours later. So our flight wasn't going to even land till 9 p.m. Now, you guys might not know this. In Connecticut, on a Sunday night, everything closes at like 5, 6 o'clock. Very few places are available for food that late. And we were like, man, we're going to have to get some food in us before we get on this flight, because if we don't, we're going to be hungry the whole flight. We're going to have some snacks, we'll try to eat that. Then when we get off the flight, we're not going to be able to get any good food, right? So, we went to the food court area for the terminal that we were in Seattle Airport. And there were a few mostly fast food, you know, McDonald's and shit's in there. Like, look, we're not going to get that. That's just what we need, gas and have to shit on the plane, right? So we find this place, I think it was called like the African Cafe or something. And basically what it looked like was decorated like a safari. Like there was like tiger stripes and, you know, it looked like you were in like a hut or something. I'm like, what kind of stuff could they have? They have a big sign out front serving breakfast. So it was like 10 a.m. We're like, great, let's get some breakfast. We sit down. No one's coming. What the hell? There's other people here who are being waited on. So we sit down, we're like looking around, and we're like, where's the... Finally, I'm not even kidding, like 10 to 15 minutes later, A guy walks up to us and says, "Oh, are you being helped?" "No, we're just waiting. What's going on?" "Oh, shit. Hold on." He goes to the back, and so he has a woman, an Asian woman comes out to serve us. Very, very broken English. This isn't surprising for airport stuff. She's like, she barely speaks English. She says, "Oh, what do you want?" I was like, "Oh, we want some breakfast." "Oh, we don't do breakfast." "There's a sign right there." "Oh, we only do breakfast till 9 a.m. Then why do you have a sign right there that says breakfast?" "Oh." And she walks and turns the sign around so it doesn't say publicly serving breakfast anymore. And then comes back to us. "What do you want?" Okay. So she gives us these menus. And basically this place is kind of like bar food. So it's like nachos and shit. "Oh, that's just what I want. A full plate of loaded nachos before I go on a 6-hour flight." Sounds great. Just a good idea. So the only thing that like looked normal, they had a couple sandwiches. So Kat ended up getting this like Italian chicken sandwich, and I got like a turkey sandwich. Now, if you read the description of these items, it makes you hungry. Your mouth watering. Like you read the description of Kat's sandwich, it's like a flame grilled, delectable marinated chicken breast with provolone cheese and some kind of vegetables and a delicious aioli sauce on a ciabatta bread. And with your choice of side of this or that. Wow, it sounds good. Oh my God, it's like $15 for this fucking thing. But it sounds so good, right? Mine was like, I wanted turkey. So it's like, oh, slow smoked turkey breast, with delicious cheddar cheese and a hand mixed garlic aioli mayo on a delicious hoagie roll. And it's like choice of either, chips or fries. And I'm thinking, chips sounds good. Maybe they have like their own homemade, some restaurants make homemade chips. That would be really good. So we wait, and I'm not even kidding, probably about another 15-20 minutes for sandwiches. The ingredients are made already. 15-20 minutes for sandwiches. The food comes out. She puts it down in front of us. I'm looking at it. I'm like, this doesn't even look as good as the sandwich I make at home. When I make myself a lunch meat sandwich at home, it looks better than this. So Kat's comes out. It's a grilled chicken breast. You could tell they didn't cook it. It's basically microwaved. So it has those fake grill marks painted on it. It's like a frozen shitty chicken, but rubbery. And like a single piece of cheese and like a smidge of dressing. Nothing else. Mine is like a shitty ass, they say hoagie roll. It's not. It's like a small mini hoagie roll with like maybe 5 pieces of sliced turkey. No flavor. The turkey is completely flavorless. The cheese, they said, oh, it was like garlic aioli mayo. No, it was just regular mayo. They barely put any on this fucking thing. Okay? So we go to eat it. It tastes flavorless food. Completely. I could have been eating cardboard. It didn't taste like anything. Oh, the chips. Oh, the chips is a bag of fucking potato chips. It's like the discount. I'm not even kidding. The discount potato chips that you get at the store for like 25, 30 cents, the cheapest possible ones. A bag of potato chips. And it was hers was like 15, mine was like $16. What the fuck? So we ate it because we just wanted food in us. Like, this is airport scam, man. Airport scam city. They say, oh, makes it sound so good. And bland, flavorless fucking food that you could have made at home for $2. And you go to the airport to eat it and you get completely ripped off. So, yeah. African cafe my ass. It was so great. So we get out of there, we go we were waiting for the plane or whatever. No problems there. We get on the plane, and in reality, we lucked out. Remember I told you the plane had changed. Originally, the plane was going to be a smaller plane, and they upgraded to a bigger plane. The plane was one of the 3-row planes. There's different planes. Sometimes you have 2 rows of seats with a middle aisle. Well, this plane had 3 rows, 2 side rows of seats that were 2 seats each, and then a center row of 3 seats with 2 aisles. We ended up getting 2 of the side seats, so Kat had window and I had aisle, and we were by ourselves. We didn't have to deal with anyone sitting with us, which was really good. And in some kind of a crazy-ass surprise twist, the flight wasn't overbooked. There were empty seats. I haven't been on a flight in the United States of America that wasn't overbooked in over a decade. I couldn't believe it. I seriously couldn't believe it. I was like, holy shit, there's room on this flight. So, when the plane went up, you could actually get up, walk around. The plane wasn't overcrowded with annoying people or nothing. Like, the flight was actually pleasant. Holy shit. I couldn't believe it, right? An actual pleasant flight. So, we're flying. And no, it wasn't first class. It was coach. It was just, did you fly first class? No, we didn't fly first class. My parents aren't rich. But for those who don't know, first class is insanely expensive. When my parents flew here last time, my parents looked into flying first class because my mom has back and leg issues and thought maybe first class would be really good for her. So the regular plane ticket was $400. First class was $1,600. So my parents decided against that. And no, we didn't fly first class. That's insane. Okay, so we're on the flight, and Delta has a really nice quality TV screen that's built into every seat, and so you can track your flight. So we messed around with that for a bit. Finally, we're like, okay, we're at the height we want to do. We want to mess with our phones, get on the internet, maybe play some mobile games or whatever. So they did have charging, but the charging was USB only. They didn't have power sockets on this plane. It was USB charging. So I brought my charging cable. I plugged it in. We started plugging it into our phones. We're like, it says it's charging, but it's not going up. It was the slowest charging I've ever seen in my life. Like maybe every 15 minutes, it would go up 1%. So even if you were charging your phone, if you were using it, the battery would go boo way fast because the charger basically didn't really charge it at all. It was like the slowest trickle of energy we'd ever seen. So I had bought those internet passes I had told you guys about because they're called Fly-Fi Internet or whatever. So we go to do it, and I'm trying to figure it out. It's a little, I'll be honest, it was a little complicated to try to figure this thing out. You could connect to the internet for free, but you wouldn't do data. It was only like messaging or checking emails. It wouldn't allow you to like play a game or anything. It wasn't enough data to do that. So it was a good thing that we had paid for this internet ahead of time because we went and looked. If you didn't buy it before the flight, it was $40 a person to get internet on this flight. $40 a person for 5 hours of internet? That's $8 an hour. That's more expensive than checking our luggage. $40 a person. So thank God we had bought it ahead of time. All right. So I go to set it up. I'm trying to figure it out. Like I said, it's a little complicated. You had to go through a certain website, do a login here and there, and I'm dicking around with it. The other thing was it needed a Delta account. And I didn't know this, but I already had a previous Delta account, probably from a flight like 10 years ago. Remember when I was flying everywhere for conventions and E3 and all of that? Well, apparently I had a Delta account already, but I didn't know. So I had to go to like try to figure out what my old email password was and everything. And it took me a while. I figured it out. So I log in finally, and I get one of the passes working. Okay. Oh, it's working. So I sync my phone to it. I go to play my games and my mobile games. They work. Oh, wow. The internet actually works. So this was working well. This is exciting. Now we can, Kat plays a couple games on her phone. And I only play one, but, this will be fun and exciting. We'll get to do some fun stuff on the flight with our phones. Maybe check the internet or whatever. And no, I didn't pay the $40. No. I didn't pay the $40. We had paid the $16 the night before. Remember, I just said we had bought it the night before. Thank God. There's no way we're paying $40 a pop for internet. So I log mine in. So then I try to get Kat's phone working. Well, guess what? We got screwed. Here's how we got screwed. When I bought the 2 internet passes, I used the same email address, okay, for both passes. Well, guess what? The way that this system works, it's 1 pass per email, okay? If you try to get a second phone, it doesn't work. It only works 1 at a time per email. So even though I had bought 2 passes, since I had associated them with 1 email address, we could only get 1 phone to work at a time. Because I tried logging both in, and it wouldn't work. It would kick the other phone off the internet. So basically, only one of us had internet at a time. So I played my game for an hour. Oh, okay, I'm going to charge. Then she would play her game for an hour. Oh, okay. So we went back and forth. But it was fine. We had stuff to do. We watched a little bit of the TV. Played our games for a little bit. Had some snacks. I would say on the Delta flight, the snacks were okay. By the way, they were complimentary, and I should commend Delta on this. Complimentary, decent-sized snacks. You had a choice between, I think it was like a corned beef sandwich, a veggie wrap, or a box of cheese and like nuts and cracker snacks. And was there fruit? There was fruit. What kind of fruit was it? Apples and grapes. That's right. So it was like some apple slices, grapes, sea salt crackers, and 3 kinds of cheese. It was like white cheddar, regular cheddar, and like pepper jack. It was pretty good. I'll admit it. It was actually pretty good, and it was free. So I was like, I'm not gonna complain about that at all. I was pleased because I was a little hungry. We had already eaten the shitty flavorless sandwiches before we got on the flight, but it was actually not that bad. Okay, so we ate this, and we had fun. We played our games, whatever. We were good. And then when the flight got off, the flight surprisingly enough, the flight arrived early. Our flight arrived an hour early. We're like, this is great. We're actually here at 8 instead of 9. This will give us extra time. Maybe we can actually get out and get food quick. Oh no. We definitely shouldn't have expected that. We landed at JFK. Those who don't know, JFK Airport is in New York. There's 2 airports in New York, LaGuardia and JFK. They're the 2 worst airports in America. That's no exaggeration. Overcrowded, overbooked. One of the most inefficiently run airports I've ever been to. Both of these. They're both terrible. We landed JFK. Well, folks, the good news is we got here an hour early. The bad news is we were just told by JFK we have to wait an hour to actually deplane because everything's backed up and they don't know what they're doing. So we can't get to a gate yet. So just sit around. So we literally just fucking sat there doing nothing for an hour because JFK sucks. There's no other explanation. They're inefficient at what they do. They're terrible. So we got stuck on the plane. Then we got out of the plane and we had to get our luggage. We got our luggage. And luckily, our parents arranged for a ride for us from the airport to Connecticut. And the driver of our ride was a resident of Connecticut who knew about places. He knew about places that were for food in Connecticut where we were going to be staying. And so we told him where we were staying. He's like, oh, what about this place, this place? And we're looking them all up on our phone. Closed at 9 p.m. Closed at 8 p.m. They don't deliver. One place we actually were ordering. We were fucking ordering a whole thing. We wanted to get a pizza delivery and everything. We're ordering and we clicked to pay. Oh, we don't deliver past 9 p.m. And we're like, oh, fuck. Because we weren't going to get to the hotel till around 10 o'clock. Okay. So, finally, we arrived at our hotel at 10 o'clock. This is a funny story. So, the hotel we were staying at was one of 3 hotels on the same road right fucking next to each other. And even we got fooled. The driver in the car has a GPS. And he's using the GPS to get us to the hotel. And he goes to drop us off. He says, it's right here. And we're looking. We're like, well, the sign right there says this is the name of the hotel. We go inside. They say, welcome, your name and everything. They look us up in the system. They say, oh. And he looks at me. He looks back down. Looks at me again. He goes, what hotel are you staying at? Tell him the name of it. He goes, you're number 12 for the day. Number 12 what? Number 12 person dropped off at the wrong hotel. The hotel you're staying at is right next door. But because their sign is the same driveway as ours, everyone goes into our hotel thinking it's the right one. It's not. You're right. You're next door. So, okay. So, we grab our luggage, we have to go, we walk down a small driveway further down, into this hotel that is our hotel, and check in, and we go upstairs to the hotel room, and the hotel room's nice. Now, some people are going to say, why a hotel room? Why not stay with your parents? 2 reasons why. The first is, my parents' house is tiny. It's not big at all. And I lived there my whole life. And since I moved out, it was converted. All the rooms were converted into other things. One room is my dad's office where he has all his equipment. The other room is a room for the cats, where the cats sleep. There's literally not a spot in the house for us to stay. So there's no room in my parents' house for us to stay. From the get-go, the plan was for us to stay in a hotel because my parents knew there'd be no way we'd be able to stay in the house for the week. Number 2, because this was actually a trip. No, not, oh my God, people are saying cat's room. It's a room for my parents' cats, not cats, not my wife's room. A room for my parents' cats. They have 3 cats, and I'm going to tell you all about them, okay? So they have their own room. But anyway, number two, this is our wedding week, right? We want a room where we can actually spend time with each other and not, we're in our parents' house awkwardly when we're getting married. You know what I mean? Like, my parents knew that. They were like, no, you got to have your own place. You got to have your own room. There's no way your wedding week, you're going to want to be with us, And it was fine. We got the room. We go into the room, and the room was nice. It was, by the way, very funny. So my parents had said, why don't you stay at this one hotel that they knew it was a little bit closer to them. The hotel they wanted us to stay at was considered a business hotel. It had tiny rooms, no amenities, meaning there was no microwave, no real fridge, just a mini fridge, shitty bathroom, okay? And they had breakfast we had to pay for every day. Versus the hotel we found, a little bit further away, but it was considered a residence hotel. What that means is that this hotel has the things you want. It has a fridge. It actually had a full kitchen, which we didn't need, but we did actually make use of the sink and the oven while we were there. Dishwasher, which was hilarious. They had actual plates, utensils, and things, because we knew we were going to be there for a week and we were going to be eating out. We were going to have leftovers. We were going to eat them later, right? And the fridge was perfect because we stocked it up with water and drinks. So when we were there at night, we could relax rather than, oh man, now you're stuck in a hotel. There's nothing there. Order fucking, by the way, this hotel didn't do room service. There was no in-house restaurant. So basically we knew we were going to have to be going around grabbing supplies and stuff. Okay. So we go to the hotel, very nice hotel. And the bummer is we arrive at the hotel exactly at 10 p.m. Everything good is closed, and we're hungry now because all we had eaten during the day was we had that terrible sandwich at the airport that tasted terrible, and then we had a box of cheese and crackers, basically. So our stomachs are going hungry as fuck, and we're desperately looking for somewhere to eat, and we can't find anywhere. So we guess where we had to eat? Of all places, we fly to Connecticut, the hotbed of Italian and seafood cuisine on the East Coast of the United States. Where did we eat the first night there? Domino's Pizza. It was the only thing open on a Sunday night. There was literally nowhere else who could deliver food, and there was no food to buy because there's no in-house restaurant. We had to fucking buy Domino's fucking pizza. So we ordered the Brooklyn-style Domino's pizza, which is a joke. All it is, instead of regular Domino's pizza crust, they try to flatten the pizza out and make it look like a New York pizza. It's not. It was hilarious because Kat's eating. She goes, I mean, I'm hungry, so I'll eat this. But why is this pizza so goddamn salty? I said, because it's fucking Domino's. It's gross. This is nothing like what we're going to eat here for the rest of this week. If anything, I said, here's how we should treat this, right? This is the worst meal we're going to have all week. The absolute fucking worst. There's no way you could have worse than this. So treat this as the worst meal, and everything else we'll eat here for the rest of the week will be better than this. So, it was bad, dude. All right. So, now we're here. We're here in Connecticut. By the way, I will address this because a couple of people actually asked this. Someone said, why didn't you stay at your condo? Right? Your old condo. Because there's nothing there. There's no bed. There's no couch. There's no furniture. There's nothing in the condo. It's empty. When I moved out, my aunt moved in. All her shit went in there for a couple of years. Then my aunt moved out, and all her shit got moved out. The whole thing is empty. And nothing, by the way, nothing works either. The air conditioner's broken. Like, nothing works in that condo. So, were you to sleep on the floor? So, no, we didn't. That's why we were staying at a hotel. Okay? All right. So, Monday. The big day. Kat's finally going to meet my parents. And we're going to, be doing things in Connecticut for the first day. Big day. So what's the first thing that happens? We wake up early in the morning. Why? Because the hotel we're staying at has a morning breakfast program that anywhere between 6:30 to 9 a.m. you could get free breakfast, and it's good. It's supposedly, we heard from all the reviews online, it's really good breakfast. Okay? But here's the thing. We're from the West Coast. 6:30 to 9 a.m. is actually 3:30 to 6 a.m. for us. So the good news is we were actually tired from the flight. So because we were tired from the flight, we were actually able to eventually, after eating this disgusting, salty fucking Domino's pizza, we got to sleep, and we probably, I'd say, got about 4 to 5 hours of sleep. And then we had to get up for this breakfast in the morning, okay? So we get up, we go downstairs for the breakfast, and we were blown away at how good it was. It was, just to give you some example, tons of different kinds of bread and grain. So you have toast, croissants, Danish and pastries, bagels of all kinds of types, muffins, like anything you would want, okay? Then they had a fruit section, melon, pineapple, strawberries, grapes, yogurts with granola, that kind of stuff, scrambled eggs, and 2 different kinds of breakfast meats. It was turkey sausage and andouille sausage. I don't know how to say it. But 2 different kinds of breakfast sausage. Cereal, whatever kind of cereal you want, different cereal dispensers with milk, and a waffle maker. Now, Kat loves waffles. It's one of her favorite foods. And she was ecstatic that they had a waffle maker. So she made her own waffles in the morning with just a little bit of like fruit, while I basically had like fruit and a bagel and some eggs. I went all out, and she was just doing like waffles and a little bit there. So it was pretty good. It was pretty good. Breakfast for sure. Oh, and also coffee of all different kinds. They had like strong, light, all different varied coffees, and then they also had a fruit juice bar. So we actually like apple juice more than orange juice. So we each got an apple juice. But they had orange juice, grapefruit juice. We got apple juice with that. So we had our breakfast. Very good. Very, very hit the spot. So we go back to our room. We call my parents. We're like, okay, we're now ready. We don't have a car yet at this point yet. Okay. Now we had the discussion with my parents. What are we gonna do? And I told my dad. I said, listen, Dad. I'm more than willing to drive your car. I don't want you to spend a ridiculous amount of money if you can't afford it. We're rental cars and stuff. I will drive your car around for the week. I'm okay with that. But he said no. I'd rather have his car for emergency, because God forbid, what if my mom got hurt or something? Falls or something. He needs to have the car. So they got us a rental car, but we had to get to the rental car place. So the way that it was going to work was my parents were going to pick us up from the hotel, drive us to the rental car place to get our rental car. And then Kat and I were going to drive around Connecticut, go to their place, hang out with them for a bit, go get the marriage license on Monday. So we have the marriage license in hand already, so there's no delays with that. We were also going to go get supplies for the hotel room, drinks, snacks, food, etc. And then we were going to spend some more time with my parents and have dinner with my parents on Monday. And then we were going to go back to the hotel room at night. Okay? So, my parents drive to pick us up. And, I jumped the gun. I call my parents to say, okay, we're ready. It's like maybe 9:15, 9:30. Kat is finishing up her makeup and everything for the day. We figure, okay, so my parents say, okay, we'll be there in about an hour. This was like 9:30 in the morning. We'll be there in about an hour. All right. Now, a little thing I need to tell you guys about my parents. Not exactly tech savvy. My dad knows computers, uses computers for work, emails. My mom knows nothing. Doesn't use computers, doesn't use internet at all, doesn't know much or anything about any of it. Okay. Do my parents have cell phones? Yes. They are the cheapest cell phones you can get. The government cell phones that you get if you don't pay for your own. The government will give you a free cell phone. That's what they have. Their cell phones don't have texting and don't have internet. They basically are just for making phone calls, and they don't use them. Every time I've ever tried to call my parents on their cell phones, it goes to voicemail. It's always off. The only way I can reach my parents is calling them at home when they're home. Good thing is they are home a lot. But if I ever I need to reach my parents for an emergency and I can't get them at home, I just can't get them. There's no way to contact my parents at all. Okay? So, my parents say they're coming in an hour. So it was 9:30 in the morning. So Kat, I'll get done, finishes her stuff up. We get dressed up. We're ready to go. We got our stuff. 10:30 comes. They're not there. Okay. Wonder what's going on. 10:45. 11 a.m. They're not here. Okay. They're half an hour late. All right. What the hell? I'll call the house. Call the house. Ring, 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 ring. No answer. Okay. They're out. They're at least in the car. Right? So that's a good sign. But I wonder where the hell they are. Waiting. 11:15. 11:30. They're now an hour late. What the hell is going on? So I said, I'm nervous. Did my parents get into a car wreck or some shit? What happened? So I'm like, what am I going to do? Well, I happen to have my mom's cell phone number stored. I had literally never called it before because I know she doesn't answer her phone. I call the phone. She actually picks up. Oh, look. Holy shit. Thank God I called. So my parents had driven by the road that our hotel was at 3 times already. but never turned. For some reason, because at the corner of the street it said Red Roof Inn, where we weren't staying. We weren't staying at the Red Roof. We were staying at another hotel. Remember I told you there were 3 hotels right next to each other on that road. They just thought that was the Red Roof Inn road. So they were driving up and down the street, past the hotel room, or the hotel road, like multiple times. Is that it? I don't know. Is that it? I don't know. Is that it? I don't know. And they don't have a phone that has GPS because they're using the government phones. So they have no internet to tell them this is the road. So they're just driving back and forth, back and forth. So fine. Cactus God says they drove for an hour and never called me. Yup. They drove for an hour, lost, and they were too embarrassed to call me. So thank God I called them. I was like, that's the road. Turn. So they turn in, and finally they get to us. They pick us up. Thank God. After an hour of waiting, wondering what the hell my parents are, they finally get us. Okay? So, no, they weren't using a physical map either. My dad had like MapQuest. I don't think MapQuest exists anymore. Probably like Google directions. But with no GPS, and there was apparently no street sign, they didn't know that was the right road. So they pick us up, they say, okay, well, we got a surprise for you. Rather than us just getting you to your rental car, let's go to get your marriage license now. Let's just get this out of the way so you have it, and that way you could spend the rest of your day doing whatever you guys want to do rather than having to do this annoying busy work. Okay, but the thing is, we were going to get married at my parents' house. My parents live in Bridgeport, Connecticut. I doubt many of you have ever been to Bridgeport, Connecticut, at least in the last decade. Bridgeport, Connecticut is a ghetto. It used to be nice. There was a one time when Bridgeport, Connecticut was very, very nice, and, you know, everything was kept up. Literally what Bridgeport has become is a place where there used to be industry and businesses, and they all left, and you have empty, burnt-out buildings, you know, really bad people who do very bad things all the time, but my parents refused to move. You know, as I was getting older, living in Bridgeport, I was seeing all my neighbors leave and move out, and all bad element kind of move in. And I was like, this ain't good. You know, what the hell am I still doing here? That's why I moved to the condo, and that's why I moved across the fucking country to get the fuck out of there while my parents stayed there. So we had to drive through the worst part. I'm not even exaggerating. We drove 1 block away from where my friend T was gunned down and murdered when I was a kid. This is where my dad takes my bride-to-be. This is where he takes her first trip through Connecticut. Let's go through the worst fucking parts. So we're driving through these streets that look like a fucking demilitarized zone. You got a house where it's burnt out, all the windows are smashed out, and there's people fucking smoking pot on the front porch of the house. And you know, you got guys that look like straight up gangsters walking down the fucking street in front of us. And you got people honking at each other, getting into accidents and shit right in front of us. And Kat's in the car like, she's never seen nothing like that before. She's like, she's gonna piss herself. She's like, what the fuck is this? I'm like, be calm. As long as we stay in the car and we keep moving, we'll be all right. I've lived here my whole life, you know. You know, we're gonna be all right. My dad just fucking drives through all these areas all the time. But, you know, just to give you some perspective, in front of the building that we need to go in to get the marriage license, there are, I guess, hobos, lined about the sidewalk with piles of clothes and their belongings blocking the sidewalk into the fucking building that we need to go in to get the marriage license. So we're like stepping over piles of clothes and shit to get inside the building to get our marriage license. It's like, what the fuck is going on? So we get inside and tell the receptionist what we're there for. Okay, it's through that door as long as you have, you know, it's $50 for a marriage license. And as long as you have your IDs and, you know, you're ready to pay today and you have the name of the Justice of the Peace that's going to marry you, which, by the way, I'll get to because it's interesting. The Justice of the Peace is a friend of my dad's because of politics. Now, I'm not going to tell you people anything about the politics of my family, but basically because my dad used to be into politics, he knew a Justice of the Peace who was the same political party, and therefore the Justice of the Peace was going to come do this nice ceremony for us at my parents' house. So we had this Justice of the Peace already, their name and everything. So we go into the office and sit down, wait, had to fill out some paperwork, pay the $50. The whole thing to get the marriage license probably took 35 minutes tops. We weren't the only person there to get it, by the way. There were a few other people who got marriage licenses while we were there, too. Then we left. We went back out to my parents, who were waiting outside for us. And then they drove us to the place to get the rental car. Again, my dad drives us through the worst parts of town again. It's like, so again, Cap, looking buildings that like destroyed buildings and everything, you know, it just looks terrible. Oh my God. All right. This is something that if you have been on the East Coast and the West Coast of the United States, you're going to be like, the roads. Out here in Washington State, this is actually one of the most nicely upkept states in the entire country. It's actually one of the last states that was formed. So because of that, all the infrastructure is relatively new, and that's a relative term. When I say new, probably the roads here were put in within the last 100 years. In Connecticut, those roads were put in like 200-300 years ago, and of course they changed, they repaved different ways and things. So those roads are shitty. They're falling apart. There are potholes everywhere. And you're driving, like, we're in the back seat of my parents' car to go. My dad says, so how was the flight? Like, what the fuck? And it's terrible. They drive on that shit all the time. That's what I had to used to drive on when I lived there. Fucking shit, man. It's really bad. So finally we get to the rental car place. Okay? Now, Kat and I, had reserved the car, but the way that rental car places work in the modern era is unless you actually are paying for the car, you can't actually prepay. Now, my dad was paying for the car for us, so nothing could be paid up front. So we arrive at the rental car place, and I think we had told them we were going to try to get there by like noon, but we were there at like 2. And the guy's like flabbergasted that we're 2 hours after the time. Oh, you guys are a little late. I'm going to have to see what kind of cars we have left. I'm like, left? Fucking reserved the car. I reserved the car. It should be here. Apparently, that's not how rental car places work. If when you reserve a car, it's not even guaranteed. There's just a general time frame. And if someone else comes, they could take your car. So anyway, we ended up getting a mid-range sedan. You know, it's probably like the cheapest car that they had besides like a tiny itty-bitty little shitty compact car or whatever. And it's very, very similar to the car that I drive at home. So that was good. That was very similar. Not many differences. So, check this out. Check this out. Okay? We get there, and he quotes one price to my dad. My dad agrees to the price. Sign here, 6 signs. My dad says, all right, well, you know, he's going to get the car. I'm out of here. I'm going to take your mom home. Come by, you know, because what we told my dad is, what we'll do is let's go grab some, we'll do a supply run. We'll buy some drinks and snacks for the room. Then we'll come by to your house. We'll spend a few hours with you. Then we'll go back to our place to unload all our stuff. And then maybe we'll have dinner together or whatever. Okay? So this is what we're going to do. So my dad leaves. We wait 25 minutes. That's not an exaggeration. And Kat had to piss really bad. No public bathroom at this rental car place. The guy finally drives up in a car. I'm like, Jesus Christ, where did he go? Did he go cross town to fucking get a car from another rental car place? He drives it up. Finally, we're getting ready to take the car. Oh, one last thing, sir. Forgot to tell you about insurance on the car. I'm like, why are you telling me? My dad's paying for it. Oh, I forgot. But here's all the insurance offers that we offer on you. We could get the minimal coverage. You could get the maximum coverage. You could do this. He's quoting me 100 prices. I'm like, I'm not paying for any of this. You should have said this to my father before he left. And what it is, the guy purposely waited for my dad to fucking leave for him to try to now get me to buy additional shit. Right? So I basically said to the guy, I don't know legally anything about this in the state of Connecticut. I don't know if it's required or not. I'm not paying for it, therefore the least possible. Oh, okay, the least insurance possible, that's this one right here. It's $20 a day. So it still ended up being like an additional $100, okay? Come to find out, he lied. In the state of Connecticut, there's no insurance requirement on a rental car at all. You can actually go without insurance. Of course, if you hit someone or someone hits you, now you're liable. It goes against your own personal car insurance policy that you own yourself. But he lied to me. He said, I'll give you the minimum and charge me $100, right? And then I find out I didn't need to get it at all. So the guy was a fucking dickhead, basically. Okay? So, we ended up getting the cheapest insurance, which I believe, the way he explained it, it covers just you. So if you wreck your car, you know, it covers your personal health and the people in the car, and it gets the car repaired. It doesn't cover anything for the other person. So if I rear-ended someone, I'd be responsible to pay for their shit. But it would at least cover me and my stuff, okay? All right. So then we got the car. We drove over to a couple of the local areas that I used to frequent when I lived in Connecticut. In fact, we went to the grocery store that I used to go to. It's called Big Y. It's only local to like Connecticut and other places around there. It's a local chain. And we went in there and I showed Kat around Big Y, and we ended up getting a few. We got I think we got a thing of banana bread that we could snack on in the room. We got some bottled water. She got a few like drinks with, I think it's like water with flavoring or something in it, something like that. And just basic stuff for the room that we knew we would need. We had toothpaste because we had travel toothpaste. We bought a full thing of toothpaste for the week. Our travel toothbrushes were awful. They hurt our teeth and gums. So we bought a couple real toothbrushes. Basics, nothing crazy. We knew this was my parents' money. We weren't going to go crazy, but we just bought very basic stuff for the room that we knew we were going to need for our trip. All right. So then we go to my parents' house for the very first time. And like I said, it's hilarious because you look at this place from the outside, the yard is nice and everything is nice. The house looks really nice. And then you look across the street and down the street and it looks like a different world. Like I said, my parents' house is the only house in that neighborhood that's nice. Everyone else's house is decrepit and falling the fuck apart. It's like I said, it's a ghetto. It really is a ghetto. But my parents' house is nice. So we go inside, and the entire house is decked out with all these decorations. Not wedding decorations, but like my parents love cats. So cat statues, cat stuff hanging from the ceilings, decorations on banisters. Like the whole house is decorated beautifully. And I said to my mom, do you usually have it like this? She says, actually we do, but in particular we kind of went all out this week for the wedding. We want the house to look really nice for when we have guests and everything. And you're going to be here and whatever. So that was very nice of my mom and dad to decorate the house nicely for our visit. But immediately we noticed the entire house smells like cigarettes. My mom is smoking, and both Kat and I hate that. I grew up with it. I was in that house with my mom her whole life, cool, mild. Sadly, that's the reason why she's got bad health right now. And that, her lungs could go on her any day because she smoked her whole fucking life. And no, we all tried to tell her, you gotta stop. The research is out there that it's awful. You could get cancer. You could get fucked up. She didn't ever want to listen to anyone. She just does whatever she wants, and she wanted to smoke. So she's smoking in the whole house. And it's just a shame. The house is beautiful. It's nicely decorated, but it smells like a fucking dirty ashtray. Like, what a shame. What a shame of a place, man. So, we go into the house and we meet the cats. Now, I had never remembered meeting Sammy before, but as I posted up a picture of Sammy on my Instagram, people had told me that I had met Sammy. I don't even remember meeting Sammy the cat. I remember the other two cats because my parents have 3 cats. One's name is Boo Boo. That's the oldest cat. That cat has been there for over 15 years. Used to be my cousin's cat. My cousin, sadly, has a lot of fucking personal problems, has been in jail many times, and basically one of the times she was going to a hole or something, basically my mom took in her cat. My cousin didn't take care of the cat in the first 2 years that it lived, and the cat ended up having fucked up head, fucked up problems. This is a cat, I'm not even exaggerating. The cat's nice, and you're petting it, it purrs, then turns, fucking scratches your hand for no reason. I was petting you, you liked it, and then and it happened to me. I was like, hi, Boo Boo, I'm petting her. Man, claws my fucking hand and draws blood. And I'm like, gee, yeah, how do you do to you too? Jesus Christ. So then there's another cat called Kitty. And this cat is a all-white cat with blue eyes. And this is a cat that was a baby of a stray cat that my parents took in at one point and had kittens. And they kept one of the kittens and named it Kitty. And the mother sadly was lost. The mother used to live in the basement and they used to let it out, be an outdoor cat. One day never came home. So that cat has disappeared completely. Okay? This cat, Kitty, is like a ghost. This cat goes around the house, but you never see it. She's fast, elusive, and doesn't like people. The only person who she interacts with is my mom, and anyone else goes near her, she runs away. So even my dad's like, I never touched her. I can't touch that cat. That cat runs away from everyone. So that's Kitty. Then the third cat, Sammy. Now Sammy is the love bug cat. This cat is fat, not gonna lie, he's fat like Garfield, but he loves everyone. He rubs you, he purrs, So Kat and I sit down on the couch, He comes right up and wants to play, so we're petting him or whatever. He jumps on my lap. Now, this cat weighs like 25 pounds. He jumps on my balls. I'm like, oh! What a silly cat. And he just lays right down on my lap, and we're both petting him, and he goes to sleep. Goes to sleep on my lap, which is pretty funny. So yes, this is still day one, Safe Space Invaded. This is Monday. This is Monday of the trip. I told you this is going to be a long podcast. There's a lot to talk about, okay? So we're petting Sammy. You know, my parents are talking to Kat and getting to know her a little bit. It was a nice time, okay? It was a nice time. And in general, we spent maybe another hour. So I think it was like around 4 or 5 p.m. And the thing is, again, time's all screwed up. So Kat and I had eaten early in the morning at like 8 a.m., it's like almost 4 or 5 p.m. We're starving. Our stomach's like, oh, so hungry. So we went to Vinny's Pizza. Oh, my God. So Vinny's Pizza is a East Coast pizzeria in Connecticut, local, run by Italians. 100% Italians working in there. All people from, some of them from the old country. Vinny, the owner, is from the old country. And, you know, very good at what they do. Their pizza is top notch, and I've said this for the rest of my life. I will compare all other pizza I eat to Vinny's Pizza because this is the pizza I grew up with. It's New York style, Brooklyn style pizza. It's got that crust that's crunchy, but when you pick up the pizza, it's a little floppy, so you gotta fold the slice to eat it. It's absolutely fucking mouth-wateringly delicious. I love it, okay? So we go to Vinny's Pizza. Kat wanted to do something without meat because the night before, the stupid Domino's pizza we had gotten had meat on it, and it was terribly salty. So she's like, I want nothing salty. So we ended up getting a margarita pizza. Now, margarita pizza is basil, tomatoes, olive oil, and cheese. Now, mozzarella typically, but, you know, depending on where you get it, there's variations. So they, instead of American regular red tomato, it's Roma tomatoes. Italian-style tomatoes. They cut, they put on this pizza. Kat and I are eating it. I'm like, this is such a great. It hasn't changed a bit since I've been here. And Kat's eating a pizza, and you can see her eyes are lighting up. And she's eating this pizza. Now, normally she doesn't eat a lot. She's like, I want more. She's eating more pizza. Like, go ahead. We ate the, you know, we got the pizza here. We ate almost the whole pizza. We had one slice left. We went to town on this fucking pizza. My mom got a pizza, half broccoli, half onions. That's what she likes, veggies. And my dad ended up getting cavatelli with broccoli pasta, which is a traditional Italian dish. It's a special kind of pasta with broccoli and like olive oil and stuff all seasoned. So this is what we ate. And my God, dude, I'm glad we got it because I missed it. And again, there's other pizzas that are good. Don't get me wrong. But Vinny's will always be home to me. Like, that is it. If I ever go back to Connecticut again, if Vinny's is still open, I gotta get Vinny's Pizza. That's like, it hits the spot. By the way, Vinny's Pizza, you can eat it, you know, it's not super grease pizza where you eat it and your stomach's like, oh, it's not like that. It's like you can eat it and you just, it's so good, it's dangerous. You keep eating it because it's so fucking good, man. Oh, it's just so good. I took a picture. That's on my Instagram. If you guys want to see real East Coast pizza and know what it is, that's East Coast pizza to a T, and we loved it. Oh, my God. All right, so then after that, said goodnight to my parents. We went back to their house for a little bit, said goodnight, and we went back to our hotel room. One thing I should really mention that's a really big positive about our hotel room. So we had brought all this shit. I brought the laptop right here that I use for streaming. I brought a DVD player to hook up to it so we could hook that up to the TV, watch DVD movies and stuff, because we didn't know what was going to be at the hotel. The TV in the hotel had Netflix and Hulu. So when we arrived, all we did, we logged in with our information, and every night we were able to watch shows that we would have been watching at home in the hotel room. It was perfect. I didn't have to ever touch my laptop or any of my shit. It stayed in the bag. We watched stuff on TV every night as if we were relaxing at home. It was perfect. It was absolutely perfect. And we're like, now we hope technology has advanced to the point where most, if not all, hotels now will have stuff like this, so that in the future, if we go anywhere, we don't ever have to bring anything with us, right? Why are you lugging around a fucking laptop and a fucking DVD players and shit? You could just watch whatever you want because you have the on-demand services already. So that was really awesome, and that's what we ended up watching, you know, every night basically when we were at this hotel, okay? So I see I've gone about 50 minutes. what I'm going to do is some shout outs. I'm going to take another break. Then I'm going to start off with Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. The next segment will actually include the wedding. Okay. All right. So a few shout outs before I go on my break. Oops, that didn't work. Okay. Let's see here. Oh, man. Let's see. Okay, so Papa Neeks subscribed to the channel. Thank you, Papa Neeks, for the sub. Kegger Obsidian did a 50-bit cheer. He says, why complain about the food for 5 minutes? Bring your own. So I don't know what he's talking about. I'm assuming when I really complained about the food was the food in the airport. You can't bring your own food. When you go to an American airport, the first thing you do is go through a security check, and you're forced to throw all your own stuff out. We were not able to eat or bring our own food to eat it in the airport or eat anything of our own on the flight. You had to buy something in the airport. So we got fooled and had terrible food. Your tax guy tipped me $1. Says, why don't you call me your tax attorney or CPA anymore? Tax guy sounds way too formal. Because it sounds better to say tax guy, because my accountant, he's basically my tax accountant. He's a CPA. He's all these things, but just saying tax guy summarizes everything nicely. Last Rambo cheered. He says, what are the names of the 2 hotels? You can use Deliveroo or Uber Eats to do delivery for any place that does not deliver past 9 p.m. You're right, Last Rambo. However, nothing was open. The problem was not that places wouldn't deliver past 9 p.m. Everything in Connecticut closes early on Sunday. So we were there at 10 p.m. and the only business open was Domino's. So even Uber Eats, it wouldn't have mattered. What were we going to do? Oh, we flew to Connecticut. Let's get fucking McDonald's delivered, right? Everything else was closed. So, as for the names of the hotels, I'm not going to give you names of hotels and stuff. It doesn't add anything to the story, and it just causes problems. So, shout out to Insomniatic Meat, who did a 1500-bit cheer. You're actually tied for top cheer. Sadly, you tied, so I'm not going to put you on the leaderboard. But he says, dude, big congrats. I'm happy for you. It's nice having someone to go through life with, to share the ups, the downs, the happiness, and the stresses. I wish you the best. Thank you very much. King of Golf HD, cheers. Says, are gangsters common there? Yeah. Sardini tipped me $1. He says, why don't lobsters contribute to charity? Because they are shellfish. A cheesy joke pun. WWE Sniper tipped me $15. He says, the way you talk about Bridgeport reminds me of my life in upstate New York. Congrats on everything, Phil. I'm sure it's about the same. That's the funny misconception about Connecticut. Everyone thinks, oh, Connecticut is just a big rich place. It's not. In Connecticut, there's a very few small amount of places where rich people live, and the rest of Connecticut is a ghetto. Or rural. Like northern Connecticut is very rural. But where I live, ghetto. So, but thank you for the tip. I appreciate that. King of Golf HD, cheers. Did you ever own your own animals? I have a hedgehog named Roadhog. Yeah, previously I had hamsters. When I was younger, I had hamsters. You know, I've had pets before. Big Superman Balls tipped me $4, and I'm laughing at the story. Laughing my ass off at the ghetto ride part. Talk forever. By the way, did you and Kat pass by the condo? Did you show her your old pad? And also, having parents with failing health is scary. It is. Like, I'm going to call my mom later today, and I might have bad news. I might have bad news. It sucks. Every day. That's why I call them every week, and I got to get caught up with them and know what's going on with them. It sucks. But anyway, no, we did not go buy the condo. As I said, my old condo in Stratford, Connecticut is empty. There's nothing in it. If I walk in, there's 4 walls still, and walk out, there's no point in going there. We did not go there. Ben Boxer Cheese said, what shows on Netflix and Hulu did you watch every night? We ended up watching a little bit of the veterinary show I talk about, Dr. Pole. We watched a little bit of that, but actually there was a show called Our Planet. It's a nature show on Netflix that just released, and we watched a lot of that while we were there. Ratchet Fan tipped me $5. He says, I'm glad you're back, Phil. I'm with you. I hate secondhand smoke. Whenever someone's smoking in the drive-thru, I just give them a stern look. And Condo from Connecticut tipped me $1. And he says, if someone tries to travel to America for tourism, what would you advise in terms of security, preparation, laptops for pirated films? What do you think of Greenwich, Connecticut? Greenwich, Connecticut is in one of the incredibly rich parts of Connecticut that I've never even been to, and that's one of the places where all the rich celebrities live in gated communities. That's one of the reasons why Connecticut's so expensive, because they make so much money. They raise all the tax rates for the state up because the per capita income on average is high. Well, in reality, it's like a couple hundred people who bring in all that money. Sadly, Connor from Connecticut, I don't have time in this podcast to give you tons of travel tips. And Akron TBK has subscribed to the channel. All right. it's time for a break, guys. We'll take about a 10-15 minute break, and then we'll be back with part 3, which is probably going to be the final part of this podcast, where I outline the rest of the week, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and then I tell you about this tax situation, and then we adjourn. All right, thank you, guys. And if you're watching on stream, it'll be about a 10-15 minute break. If you're watching on YouTube, it'll be a part 3. Thanks, everyone, for your support so far, and I'll see you in a few minutes.